Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Hello everyone. Now today we will start a new course which is on textiles for human protection. As the title says that in this course we will discuss the entire textile materials which are used for human protection. So, we cannot cover entire gamut because it is for human protection textiles are used in many areas, but we have selected few modules at least try to cover the major protective textiles. So, today we will discuss the basic content first, then the basic introduction part we will discuss here. Okay. So, if you see the module, the content, it is a module 1 which talks about the introduction to textiles for human protection and its functionality. So, entire introduction we will discuss here in this module, and the functionality, basically the problem of protective textile is that you can use or you can develop protective textiles which will be totally as far the function is concerned, it is a protection will be there, but main issue will be the functionality, like whether it will create or it will deliver, it will have some comfort aspects. So, without comfort aspects the protective textiles will not be effective. So, this in this module we will discuss all these issues, then we will come to the module 2 where we will discuss entire fibers, yarns and fabric constructional characteristics for human protection. So, what are the different fibers, different types of yarns, different types of fabrics are being used for human protection. Third module will be the protective textiles for extreme heat. So, there are many situations where we have to face human need to encounter the extreme heat. So, those things we will discuss, we will cover here in this module 3, and here what we will discuss at different types of extreme heat. Like in industry we see that molten metal, people work, the workers they work in the industry where molten metal they have to handle. So, we have to protect ourselves from the molten metal. So, this textiles which we will discuss here will be suitable for protecting us from molten metal. Then radiant heat, different types of radiant heats will be there where we have to encounter radiant heat, like in case of say fire. So, radiant heat will be there. So, we have to use some protective textiles which will protect ourselves from radiant heat. Then high pressure steam, there are industries where they deal with the high pressure steam. In case of any leakage we should protect ourselves. So, this type of textiles will be there, we will discuss. And convective heat, there are situations are there where convective heats are generated. So, we have to protect ourselves. Flash fire and splash fire. So, flash fire is a very dangerous situation where there may be a situation where the flash fire or splash fires are there. So, there we will discuss here in this module different types of protective textiles. Contact heat is also there, hot surface contact heat. So, we have to sometime deal with the contact heat protection. So, this type of textiles are very much required even in our home use and industry. Obviously, there are needs. Arc flash, it is a very actually very high temperature, sometime arc flash fire temperature is more than the sun surface temperature. We will discuss this issue and we have to protect ourselves in this type of situation. Military and defense heat protection. So, for defense personnel there are situation where we have to create develop textiles for to protect them like in firefighters suit. So, this type of suits are required, and for oil gas industries where flame protection flame generates. So, this type of industries where the chances of flame are there. So, we have to develop, we have to create fabrics for protecting these people working in the oil and gas industries. And also in space and aerospace there are situations where very high temperature generates like an entry suit. So, where the very high heat generates. So, we have to protect the human from this extreme heat. So, all these areas we will discuss one by one, and we will try to understand what type of fibers are being used, fabrics are, and what type of layers are used. So, all this we will discuss and their standards we will discuss, and we will also discuss the type of fabrics and type of test instruments are there. So, that all these issues we will discuss here. Now, then another extreme condition is extreme cold. So, we will discuss the fabrics for extreme cold protection. So, extreme heat protection is a different type of environment, and extreme cold is another type of extreme environment where we need to protect ourselves. So, understand we try to see the how human physiological response we generate under extreme cold environment. So, we try to see the basics of this understanding, and then we analyze the textile technology and material for cold protection. Then we will see the ergonomics for cold protective clothing design. Then international testing standards and protocols we will discuss here and explore the application in military, industrial and recreational sectors, where people used to go in extreme cold environment like Antarctica. So, what type of clothing are required to protect ourselves, that these things we will be discussing. The next module is, which is very common, like we have to protect ourselves from the UV rays, like from the sun we receive UV ray, and people because most of the rays are being absorbed by ozone layer, but the remaining layers are rays we have to protect ourselves. Even there are some ozone holes. So, there it is a very severe. So, we have to create cloth, we have to develop cloth to protect ourselves from UV rays. So, this is a solar radiation. So, industrial source. So, industrial source also create the UV rays. So, these are the different sources like artificial ultraviolet ray and reflected UV. So, like in hilly area, in mountain area where in the snow, when the sun ray fall on the that snow covered mountain. So, it gets reflected, UV gets reflected, that is also harmful for human being. So, there in hill area, in mountaineering area, so people need to wear the UV protective clothing, and we will see the what are the different terms to be used for labeling the like ultra UPF. Okay. So, SPF, this type of terms we will try to understand, and then we will discuss the effect of various textile parameters, how different textile parameters like yarn linear density, fabric ends per inch, pegs per inch. So, that how they are affecting the UV protection, and then we will see the one research report. So, that we will try to understand the basics of UV protection. Okay. Now, next is that module 6, where we will discuss the textile for protection from mechanical threats. So, mechanical threats are of different types. So, in this type of threats, if you see, are basically one is ballistic type. So, module 6A will discuss the ballistic protection. So, that is basically it is protection against projectile. Maybe different types of projectiles may hit our body, that like your in bullet is a projectile, and it is that if that hits, then people get hurt. So, that type of protective textiles we will be discussing, ballistic protective textile like shrapnel. So, there are different types of fragments may come. So, we have to use the protective textiles like bullets varying calibers, shapes and materials. So, there we may use different types of protective textile like full metal jackets are being used, or maybe soft body armors made from the textile material, that will discuss. Shrapnel, irregular fragments from explosions. So, different types of blasts takes place. So, from there the irregular shape fragmented particles come, and which may actually injure, people may get injured. So, grenades and all this, and fragments high velocity piece from the various source, secondary projectile. So, suppose some one blast has taken place in some building, and from there secondary projectiles from like your bricks, stone or stones, chips. So, that may actually travel and hit the human body. So, that type of protective textiles we may need to we need to use to protect ourselves, and then we will discuss the materials used for ballistic protection. Different types of materials are being used. Next type of mechanical threat is the cut protection, which is very common, resistance to sharp objects, knife, glass, industrial blades. So, different types of industries they use different types of knives. So, people need to wear this cut protective textiles like gloves and sleeves. In the sleeves we can use in the neck, this type different types of cut protective textiles are like we will first discuss with the mechanism of cut protection. What are the different mechanisms used, like materials, what are the different materials are being used for cut protection. So, there are different types of material like our glass in the core, like stainless steel or maybe ultra high molecular weight polyethylene. So, different types of high performance fibers are being used, that we will discuss. Then this is not the normal yarn structure. So, special yarn structures has to be created, multi-layered yarn structures, this we will be discussing, and fabric structure also is important for preventing us, protecting us from the cut type of threat, and we will see how to test the cut resistance testing, then different factors which affect the cut resistance, that we will discuss, and smart cut resistant fabric, or we will try to see the latest developments in cut protective textiles here. And another thing is that if we use a fabric of high cut protection, then we sometime actually sacrifice the protection. So, cut comfort and protection trade off, these issues we will be discussing. If we try to create comfort, then we have to actually sacrifice some protection characteristic protection behavior, and that is why we know we do not we have to have some balance, and different case studies for cut protective performance. So, this we will be discussing in detail. And next mechanical threat is stab. It is again one type of threat. We have to create clothing for stab protection, which is different from ballistic protection. So, difference is that it defends against the pointed object designed to penetrate, like a dagger or knife. So, this type of textiles are being used to protect ourselves from the this type of penetration. Like we will discuss with the mechanism of stab resistance. So, what are the different mechanism, what are the materials being used for stab resistant testing, which is different from maybe bullet or cut protection, and case studies on stab resistant testing. So, that will this we will discuss. Then and fourth one is slash, which is different from cut and stab. So, this is actually protection from broad cutting mechanism. So, cut and stabs are slash are entirely different phenomena. This we will discuss in detail in this module, and which is matches sharp edges. Then penetration source of sharp object injury. So, that we will first discuss what are the different sources of slash protection we must understand, and these are the occupational sources in during the our performance work. People get this slash type of that injury. And then domestic and everyday sources, there are different types of domestic sources, this we will discuss here, and what are the different laws enforcement and military threats, okay, that we will discuss here. Vandalism and civil unrest, in those sources, this actually these are different sources where we get this type of slash threat. Even accidental and environmental sources. So, environmental sources are also there, like there are some heavy storm is taking place, where some flying object may actually damage damage our body. So, we have to be we have to get protected from this type of incidents. And then sports and recreational sources are also there, where people get slash type of damage where the potential of threat is more. So, there the sports person should wear the slash protective textiles, okay, like different that we will discuss here, and different types of sharp objects here in this module we will discuss. Then mechanisms of slash. So, it is a this mechanism of slash and mechanism of cut or stab are entirely different. So, we will try to understand the what are the difference here. Then protection mechanism. So, what are the different types of protection mechanism that we will discuss here. Okay. And what are the different materials used for slash resistance. So, these are different special type of yarns and fabrics are to be used for slash resistance, and here the thing is that we should not sacrifice the comfort and also flexibility. So, that we have to be careful. And our next module is the textiles for protecting us from hazardous gas and chemicals protection. So, that this is very special, and particularly for many people in chemical industries or different types of situation. So, chemical hazard, there are chemical hazard, the categories are the acidic substance. So, people work in the chemical industry or where acidic hazards are there, like people working in R&D or in laboratory. So, there work with acidic substance. So, people should use this type of protective textiles. Alkaline compounds like oxidizing agents. So, these are the different types of chemical hazards. Organic solvents, different types of organic solvents are also there, which are harmful, and hazardous gases threads are also very harmful, where we need some special mask we have to use. So, toxic gases are there, corrosive vapor, so which may damage our actually affect our human health, carcinogenic agent. This carcinogenic agents for long term use. So, if you do not protect ourselves, it will actually affect our human health. So, need for advanced fabric technology. What are the different types of fabric technology required to protect from this type of threats? What are the different types of fabric structure for chemical and gas protection, and their testing protocols, their standards that we must understand this type of different types of standards. And next module is that textiles for protection from air and water pollution. Now, the in the developed while we are developing, we are actually polluting our water as well as air. So, we must protect ourselves from the air pollution and the water pollution. So, the best way is that to use the filter fabric. So, for air filtration we have different types of requirement of textile materials, like and in air filtration we will use the particle capture mechanism. There are different types of particle capture mechanisms, depending on the particle size and particle velocity. So, and based on that we can we can select our textile material, we can design the textile material, like filtration parameters. What are the different parameters, how to express the filtration efficiency, this we will be discussing in this module. And then water filtration, in water filtration different types of, not only textile material, here in this module we will try to understand the entire gamut, where different types of water filtration mechanisms we will be discussing, and then we will discuss the textile, how textiles is actually helping us in protecting from the water pollution. Okay. Now, another protection which is which goes unnoticed, which is that is the pollution protection against noise. Noise is actually very harmful not only for human, for the environment, for animals, for the even for the plants. So, this type of noise protection is required. The sources of noise we will discuss, what are the different sources of noise, like transportation is a major source of noise generation, and it actually noise pollution is basically long term human effect, human actually health effect is there. So, those we will discuss. Industrial noise in the industry during the machine, when machine runs, it creates noise. Household noise, in household we different types of noise generation is there, and what are the impact of noise on human health, this we will discuss here, and how to reduce the method, different types of methods to reduce noise, and what are the parameters to represent the acoustic properties. So, different types of parameters are being used. So, those we will try to understand here, and acoustic measurement technique, there are different measurement techniques that those we will discuss here, and what are the different types of materials we use for sound absorption, like your influence of fiber parameters on acoustic properties, different type of fibers property which affects the sound absorption. So, depending on the sound level we can use particular type of fiber, and also fabric parameters, we different types of fabric parameters which affect the acoustic property, sound absorption property. So, those we will discuss here, and then last module is that textiles for protection from microbial and viral hazard. So, this we will be discussing in this module, where microbial foundations we will try to understand what are the different types of microbes and what are their health effect on our health, and then we will discuss the textile science and structural design, different types of textiles, how these textiles and their structures actually help us in protecting from the microbial and viral hazards. Basically, in all, if you see all this protection without textile we can always do, without like microbial hazard and viral, if you actually enclose something in a you are being enclosed. So, that will be there because to you to protect yourself from microbial and viral hazard, but we have to actually use within our body. Okay, actually have to protect our body, we have to move from one place to another place, and we have to be comfortable. So, for that you will see, for all the protection we need textile material for protecting ourselves. So, mechanisms of microbial inactiveness, that how to inactivate the microbial hazard. So, that we will discuss. So, antimicrobial functional material. So, there are different types of microbial functional materials, and those how do they apply on textile material to protect ourselves. So, functionalization and fabrication techniques, that we will discuss, and different types of testing and evaluation and their standards we will be using in this module, discussing in this module, and applications and medical and protective systems. So, this we will discuss. So, the different types of textiles applications, particularly in medical field, the protective textiles or PPE kit are very widely used. One, we can always remember the COVID situation, where the textile PPE was very useful to protect ourselves, and safety, regulatory and ethical framework, that we must know the what are the different ethical framework and what are the regulatory bodies. This we will try to understand to develop our clothing, and emerging technologies and future research. So, this all these things we will try to cover, and so what we have discussed at with a different module, the entire course, which is the textile for human protection, what we have observed that it is the course content is very wide, and if we try to squeeze the course in a single part, in a one course of say 40 hours, then we will not do the justice to the subject and to the audience, because then we will have to either go in shallow mode with a fast without any depth knowledge, or we have to we have to drop some important aspects of human protection. So, for that, what we have thought that we divide this course to separate complete courses of 40 hours each. So, the course part 1, which is textiles for human protection part 1, and the second part is that textiles for human protection part 2. Now, part 1 will cover the introduction to the textile for human protection and functionality, then fibers, yarn, fabric construction for human protection, then we will cover the textiles for protection from extreme heat, then textiles for protection from extreme cold environment, then we will discuss the textiles for protection from UV rays, and then we will discuss the textiles for protection from air pollution. So, these modules we will discuss, we will cover in the part 1. In part 1, the course content will be protection from all these aspects, and after completion this part 1, then we will do the next course. In the next course, part 2, textiles for human protection part 2, we will cover the protection from water purification, water pollution, how the human being are protected from water pollution by textile materials, and textiles for protection from mechanical threats. There are different types of threats like ballistic threat, cut, slash, stab for any sharp objects, that this type of protection we will discuss, we will cover. Next module will be textile for protection from environmental noise. So, external noise, that is very important, its health hazard is there. Then we will cover the textiles for protection from hazardous gases and chemicals, that we will discuss. Then textiles for protection from microbial and viral hazards like medical gown, PPE kit. So, thus we will discuss. And especially in automotive, airbag is, it plays a crucial role in human protection. So, airbag we will try to cover in automobiles. Till then, thank you.